It is the day. NBA trade deadline is coming up this afternoon here on Thursday. And so this is the latest with one James Harden. Although the Brooklyn Nets guard wants a trade to the Philadelphia 76ers, he has resisted making the formal request out of fear of the public backlash that would come with asking out of a second franchise in consecutive seasons. This is what Adrian Wojnarowski has been told. Harden is hopeful that the 76ers president of basketball operations, that's Daryl Morey, secures a trade for him prior to today's 3 p.m. Eastern NBA trade deadline. But Morey and Nets GM Sean Marks have yet to become engaged in serious dialogue on a deal. Okay, so not an update in terms of Harden's on the move, but one that we now understand a little bit more of a peek behind the curtain, right? Like Harden doesn't want this public backlash, which I feel like has already started. I, for one, already have been saying, like, dude, you want out of a second franchise? It hasn't even been a year. You guys have played all of, 16 games together as a big three? But nonetheless, now this lies in the hands of the two GMs in the 76ers and in the Nets. Jordan, do you think Harden ultimately gets moved? What do you think about this news?
It's purely speculative. I think he does. I hope he does, because I'd love to see him play with Joel Embiid. Fear of public backlash, he should just talk to his boy Kyrie Irving, and Kyrie can talk him exactly through how not to worry about what anybody thinks about you publicly.
But isn't that the problem? They're not really boys anymore, because I think that's why he's partially so frustrated and wants out.
But it's also why he shouldn't fear backlash, Shae, because look, at the end of the day, he signed up for this to be a surefire path to a championship. And you could argue, hey, deal with attrition. You get paid a lot of money to be that. You're also a star. Handle it. But at the same time, he went there because he was promised to play alongside two Hall of Famers. Now, look, Kevin Durant battling injury, that's a nominal issue. But this whole thing with Kyrie Irving, I think he feels like it's a circus, and I didn't want to be a part of this. And I look at the 76ers team. I trust the GM there in Daryl Morey. They have the history with Houston. I look at what Joel Embiid's doing, and I feel like I can win there. I do think James Harden, at the end of the day, just wants to play with the winner. That's why he went to Brooklyn. He was sold a false bill of goods because this thing got out of hand. And now he's just like, hey, I didn't know this, but I've always had the same intention. Get me to a contender. That contender's Philly. That trust is with that GM. It makes sense. I wouldn't judge him, honestly.
I'm not judging him, but it's like you were so close with the Thunder. You were so close with the Rockets. Now you feel like you were so close a year ago with the Nets. And now it's like you're always looking for grass that's greener. Now, what if you go to the 76ers and something happens? Like, then what? You're going to be on the move to the next place? Like, you can't ensure everyone's going to be healthy and everything's going to click the way you want it to, and you're ultimately going to be led to a chip? You have no idea. What if in the game, in a critical game in the NBA Finals, Joel Embiid's in foul trouble and can't be there for the last four? I mean, you never know.
But that's why his PR team is floating this, because they want everyone to know that Harden is aware of how this is going to look. And he wants people to know, hey, I know it doesn't look great that I might be leaving another team in this spot. So that's why this message has got out to Woj by them, I think, to say, hey, look, I get it, but let me make it clear about what my intention is. And Shae, just because they're athletes and make a lot of money, you can still pertain it to your real life. And if you were moving to another network and you were promised a certain role and how the team you're going to be working with was this, and then somebody goes rogue and the thing is not what you signed up for, you left one market to come to this network, and it's this, you're going to leave that network and try and find another place too.
It's happened multiple times. One time is fine.
This was outside of his control with Kyrie Irving.
But it's not all Kyrie Irving. And the fact that he's sat out 3 games now, and I know he's got hamstring tightness, whatever. Like, this is only doing a disservice to his buddy, Kevin Durant, because they're losing games at a very high clip. And when he finally gets healthy after the All-Star break, they're going to be in a huge hole they have to dig out of.
You're so loyal. That's what I love about you. You're loyal. You think about others first. You stand by your man. I picked the right one.
That's right. Let's keep it moving here. Let's go to Blazers, because the Blazers took on the Lakers, and of course they were without C.J. McCollum. L.A. was without Russell Westbrook, who was out with lower back tightness. First game he's missed this entire season. LeBron had 30 points, but the Lakers had 21 turnovers, and that really hurt them. Anthony Simons scored 29 points for Portland, and they snapped a 6-game losing streak with that 107-105 victory. Lakers also have got some issues.
Winner Simons says, after a quiet first half, Anthony Simons came alive. 25 of those 29, Shae, coming in the second half, as he played a pivotal part in leading the Trailblazers to the dub. He led Portland in scoring, and his back-to-back threes in crunch time helped seal the deal for the Blazers. This guy's star is only growing. What an absolute bucket.
Yeah, they better keep him there in Portland. Loser, furrowed brow. The Brow played just 9 minutes in the fourth, but he did not attempt a single shot. The last time Anthony Davis played at least 5 minutes in a fourth quarter without a shot attempt was back in 2015. Not ideal from one of your, quote, stars if you're a Lakers fan.
Loser, that's not your seat, Bron. Halfway through the first quarter, he goes up for a layup. And look, he may have gotten fouled. He reaches for his face. He fell onto a seat in the crowd, sandwiched between two people. Bron, what are we doing here? LeBron clearly just frustrated with a lot. And after the game, he would speak about the state of his Lakers after this befuddling loss as his team clearly chaotic.
You know, it was just something that's weighing on this group that we're trying to all, get through. Almost feels like it's, like fog. Just fog in the air, and we're all trying to see what's on the other side of it. I'm literally I'm tired as hell right now. I just want to, get some wine and get into bed and wake up tomorrow and feel good about what tomorrow has in store. I just hate that where we are right now, and it hasn't kind of worked out that way 2/3 through the season.
Man, and the Lakers' schedule does not get easier, so he wants to crawl in the bed and start over, man. It's not going to get any easier from here. Being in, this fog that the Lakers are in, which I can, feel that. I can feel what LeBron is saying, right? They're losing, Russ isn't playing, what he thought was constructed, a team that he thought would go to the finals, it's not working.
He constructed it.
Well, he
put it together.
Well, he didn't.
He did. He put it together.
Okay, I was I guess it wasn't all him, but it was a lot of him.
He needs to take some of that responsibility, Shae, and I don't think there's going to be splashy moves from the Lakers because you can't move Russ, not with that massive contract. So you're going to have to figure out a way to make that work, especially as it gets uglier with Vogel and Westbrook. That'll be a storyline to follow because it's not going to be handled with the trade deadline. It's just not. But when you look at guys like, you look at THT, you look at Malik Monk, I think those are two pieces that are decent, but you can find more enhanced versions of them. So I imagine THT and Malik Monk get moved, and I look at New York, and I look at Cam Reddish, and I look at Alec Burks, and I say these two are better versions of the two you have there, and it gives you more spacing, it gives you more consistent scoring. I think Alec Burks' game returns to what we saw at moments last year playing in this offense. I think Cam Reddish is a star. It's not been able to shine as bright. In New York, he's been a non-factor in a struggling New York group. Yeah. I think those moves could maybe create a little bit of a jolt, but ultimately, the elephant's going to loom large in the room all season, what you do with Russ. And Russ has the ability to be effective with this group. He's going to have to eat some humble pie, and that's hard to do for a Hall of Famer. We haven't seen this kind of drop-off from a guy this talented.
Yeah, no, I know. The fact that he sat out last night, I understand it was lower back tightness, but I know you said it's a big contract, but also I wonder if LeBron, who you pointed out to me really did construct this team, might know something. He's we're in a fog, we got to go to bed. I'm excited for what tomorrow brings. That tomorrow is now today. Again, 3 p.m. Eastern trade deadline. Maybe he knows something we don't. Staying in the association, Warriors in Utah last night taking out the Jazz. Golden State struggled in this one. No Klay Thompson, no Andre Iguodala, no James Wiseman, all guys out due to injury. But Donovan Mitchell had a nice night. He finished with 14, 10, and 8, just short of Utah's first triple-double since Carlos Boozer did it 14 years ago. Bogdanovich added 23 en route to a 111-85 blowout.
Shout out to Booze, my guy. Loser, push or pull? No call here for Donovan Mitchell on what looked like a slight push-off. Finally, the push-off goes the Jazz's way here. He sinks the shot after making it. Everybody remembers the push-off. Michael Jordan, Byron Russell. And this one goes, like I said, Donovan Mitchell's way. And he milks the camera, too, strikes the pose. That's a performer.
Who run the world? Fill it in.
Cornettes.
No. Girls. This was the first NBA game broadcast on a national scale led by all women. Both on camera and in pivotal roles behind the scenes. Beth Mowins was play-by-play. Doris Burke was the analyst. And Lisa Salters was the courtside reporter. I love it. Let's try it again. Who run the world?
Women.
There we go. That works.
I'm not saying girls. I ain't doing that. Women.
I'll take it.
Winner, no Gobert. No problem. Hassan Whiteside stepped up big. 9 points, but 17 boards and 7 beats, also known as blocks, as his defensive performance helped propel the Jazz to the blowout dub. Whiteside held opposing players to 2 for 12 from the field when he was out there contesting.
Let's catch you up.
Around the Association we ride.
And here we go. Let's start with my Bulls taking on the Hornets in Charlotte. And DeMar DeRozan was just... Jake is what?
The moneymaker. And Shae, we're not talking about you back in the clur. We're talking about DeMar DeRozan getting the buckets.
That's right. 36 points for him. That's now his 4th straight game with 30 or more points. Even some MVP chants from Bulls fans in Charlotte. LaMelo Ball had 33 points and 9 boards for Charlotte. Not enough. Bulls win. Stayed in the lead for most of this game, 121-109. Raptors at Thunder, and Pascal Siakam was...
He was spicy Pete. 27 points, 16 boards, led Toronto to their 7th straight win, Shae. On the low, watch out for these Raptors, maybe 117-98. They get the dub over the Thunder.
That's right. Spurs and Cavs is where we're going next. And Karis LeVert making his Cleveland debut, and it was a good one.
How about an alliteration for you? Cleveland, Karis. He looks good in that Cavs uniform.
LeVert received a loud ovation at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse when he checked in with 6:37 left in the first quarter. He finished with 11 points to add to Darius Garland's 27. Cavs beat the Spurs 105-92.